First contact. The crystalline forest of Vidia hummed with energy that Dr. Elian Nash could almost taste on his tongue. 3 weeks into his solo expedition, and the xenobiologist was still awestruck by the planet's beauty. Transparent tree-like structures rose around him, their branches filled with a blue-violet liquid that pulsed like heartbeats. "Sample 47, Elian murmured into his recorder, carefully collecting a glowing moss from the base of the largest crystal formation. Emits heat along with light. Possible bioenergetic properties." The expedition sponsors had given him 6 months to document Viridia's unique ecosystem. What they hadn't mentioned was the profound solitude. No human had set foot here before, at least none that had returned to tell about it. As twilight approached, Elian followed the sound of running water. His supplies were running low, and the stream ahead promised fresh water. The forest opened to a clearing where crystalline pools cascaded into one another, each glowing a different color. Steam rose from their surfaces, carrying a sweet, intoxicating scent. Elian's instincts took over. He needed to test these waters. After ensuring his privacy, a habit from Earth that seemed absurd on an uninhabited planet, he removed his expedition suit, carefully folding it beside his equipment. The warm air caressed his skin as he eased into the nearest pool, its blue luminescence enveloping his tired body. "This is incredible," he whispered as he watched the water ripple around him, responding to his movements with enhanced luminosity. "The liquid seems to react to body heat or perhaps electrical impulses from the nervous system." Lost in observation, Elian didn't notice the subtle shift in the forest's rhythm until a soft voice broke the silence. "You are not Lumina." Startled, Elian swirled around, instinctively sinking deeper into the water. At the pool's edge stood a woman, but not human. Her skin had a faint silver-blue luminescence, complementing her flowing hair that seemed to float slightly despite the absence of wind. Her features were delicate yet strong, with eyes that reflected the pool's light like faceted gems. "I am Elian Nash, from Earth." The individual approached with graceful steps. "I am Zephyra, spiritual guide of the Lumina." Her voice carried a melodious quality. "You bathe in our sacred pools of renewal." 2 more figures emerged from the crystal forest, similar in their ethereal beauty, but distinct in the patterns of light that played across their skin. "Lysandra, Vidia," Zephyra said without looking away from Elian. "We have a visitor from beyond the stars." The one called Lysandra circled the pole, her curious gaze unabashed. "His form is different, yet similar." "He glows from within, not without," Vidia observed, kneeling at the pool's edge. "May I?" she asked, reaching toward him. Before Elian could respond, her fingertips touched his shoulder, sending a pleasant tingle across his skin. Her eyes widened. "He carries energy unlike ours. Fascinating." Zephyra's lips curved in a smile that made Elian's pulse quicken. "The otherworlder shall join us for the evening ritual. Perhaps we have much to learn from one another." Elian knew protocol demanded immediate return to base. Instead, he nodded, enchanted by these beings and the mystery they presented. "I would be honored." Little did he know this encounter would change not only his mission, but his very existence.
Cultural exchange. The Luminous settlement was unlike anything Elian had encountered in his years of xenobiology. Dwellings of living crystal grew from the ground, their interiors illuminated by the same bioluminescent essence that flowed through the forest. After changing into a garment offered by Vidia, a lightweight, iridescent fabric that seemed to respond to his body temperature, Elian followed Zephyra through the settlement. "Our people have lived in harmony with Vidia for countless cycles," Zephyra explained, leading him to a central gathering space where dozens of Lumina were engaged in what appeared to be a communal meal. Conversations halted as they noticed the newcomer. "A visitor from the stars joins our circle tonight," Zephyra announced, her voice carrying authority despite its melodious quality. "He is called Elian." The Lumina regarded him with curious eyes that reflected the ambient light. One elder with intricate light patterns across her skin approached. "I am Elder Moira," she said. "What brings you to Vidia, star traveler?" "I study life forms," Elian answered carefully. "Your world has unique biological properties unlike any we've discovered." Lysadra appeared at his side with a crystalline vessel. "Drink," she offered. "Essence of the sacred pools, purified for consumption." The liquid tasted like sunlight might, warm, energizing, with subtle complexities. Immediately, Elian felt heightened awareness, his senses more receptive to the energy pulsing through the settlement. Throughout the evening, Elian observed the luminous rituals, their synchronized movements that caused wave-like patterns of light to flow through the gathering, their haunting melodies that seemed to resonate with the crystal structures around them. Zephyra remained close, explaining aspects of their culture, her hand occasionally brushing against his with deliberate lightness. Later, as twin moons rose above the forest, Zephyra led Elian to a secluded garden, where plants responded to their presence by intensifying their glow. "Your curiosity is beautiful," she said, studying his face. "Most species seek only resources, not understanding. Understanding is why I'm here, though I admit today has gone beyond scientific inquiry." Zephyra moved closer, her luminescence brightening subtly. "We believe energy seeks compatible energy throughout the universe." Her fingers traced the outline of his jaw, sending tingling warmth across his skin. "I want to show you something tomorrow, something no outsider has seen."
The Forbidden Grove. Dawn arrived with a gentle awakening of lights throughout the crystal forest. Elian had spent the night in a dwelling provided by the Lumina, a living structure that adjusted its internal environment to his comfort. He found Zephyra waiting outside, accompanied by Lysandra, who carried a small satchel. "The council must not know of today's journey," Lysandra warned, handing Elian a vial of shimmering liquid. "This will protect you from the grove's more overwhelming effects." "Is this dangerous?" Elian asked, examining the vial. Zephyra's expression grew serious. "Not dangerous, sacred. The bioluminescent grove is the heart of Viridia's consciousness. Only spiritual guides are permitted entry, but I believe you were guided here for a purpose." They traveled for hours through increasingly dense crystal formations. The forest's glow intensified around them, and Elian noticed subtle changes in his perception. Colors seemed more vibrant, sounds more dimensional. Whether from anticipation or the liquid he'd consumed, his body felt charged with a pleasant electric current. "We approached the boundary," Zephyra announced, as they reached a ridge overlooking a valley unlike anything Elian could have imagined. Below them spread an expanse of interconnected crystal structures, pulsing with every color imaginable. At the center stood a massive formation resembling a tree, its branches reaching hundreds of feet upward, filled with swirling, luminescent liquid. As they descended, Elian felt a presence, not individual consciousness, but a vast, encompassing awareness. Zephyra watched his reaction with understanding. "The grove recognizes you," she said, her voice hushed. "It's unusual for it to accept an outsider so readily." At the base of the crystal tree, Zephyra placed her palms against its surface. The luminescence within responded, flowing toward her touch. She beckoned Elian to join her. When his hands met the warm crystal, sensation flooded through him. Images, emotions, knowledge too vast to comprehend. He gasped, overwhelmed yet exhilarated. "Our connection to Vidia is through energy exchange," Zephyra explained, her body now glowing more intensely. "We give and receive in equal measure." As if drawn by forces beyond conscious thought, Elian found himself embracing Zephyra. Where their skin met, light danced between them. Her lips found his in a kiss that transcended physical pleasure. It was as if their very essences were mingling. "This is forbidden," came a stern voice from behind them. Yet precisely what I feared would happen. They turned to find Elder Moira and several council members at the grove's edge, their expressions a mixture of shock and disapproval. "You have violated our most sacred laws, Zephyra. The outsider must leave immediately."
Separation. The journey back to the Luminous settlement passed in tense silence. Elian felt the disapproving stares of the council members burning into his back. More concerning was Zephyra's unnatural stillness, her usual luminescence dimmed to barely a flicker. Upon reaching the settlement, a formal gathering was called. The entire Lumina community assembled in concentric circles around the central crystal, which pulsed an anxious red. "Zephyra, daughter of our lineage, has betrayed her position as spiritual guide," Elder Moira announced, her voice resonating through the assembly. "She has shared our most sacred space with an outsider, risking the balance we've maintained for generations." Elian stepped forward. "The fault is mine. Silence," another elder commanded. "You cannot understand the gravity of this transgression." Zephyra finally spoke, her voice steady despite her diminished glow. "The grove accepted him. It showed him visions, shared knowledge. Would our planet's consciousness make such a mistake?" Murmurs rippled through the gathering. Vidia moved to stand beside Zephyra. "I have examined the energy patterns. There is something unique about this human. Perhaps we should—" "Enough," Elder Moira interrupted. "The council has decided. The outsider will return to his dwelling beyond the crystal forest by tomorrow's first light. Zephyra will undergo purification and reflection." That night, as Elian packed his research equipment, Lysandra appeared at his temporary dwelling. "She asked me to give you this," she whispered, pressing a small crystal into his palm. It pulsed with Zephyra's distinctive energy signature. "What will happen to her?" Elian asked, closing his fingers around the warm stone. "Purification is uncomfortable, but not harmful," Lysandra assured him. "But separation from one whose energy complements yours, that is its own punishment." After Lysandra left, Elian noticed something strange. In the darkness of his dwelling, his skin emitted a faint glow where the crystal touched it. Examining his arm, he found delicate patterns forming beneath his skin, similar to those of the Lumina, but fainter. At his research base, days passed in scientific monotony, but the changes continued. The patterns spread, and occasionally, when emotions ran high, Elian's entire body would emit a soft luminescence. His dreams were filled with visions of the grove and Zephyra. One evening, as twin moons rose, Elian felt a sudden warmth from the crystal Lysandra had given him. Looking outside, he saw a familiar figure at the edge of the forest, Vidia, beckoning urgently. "Zephyra needs you," she said when he reached her, "and I believe you need her too. The changes in your biology, they're accelerating, aren't they?" Elian nodded, revealing the now constant glow beneath his skin. "As we suspected," Vidia murmured. "The grove has chosen you for transformation."
Luminous bond. The council chamber fell silent as Elian entered alongside Vidia. 7 elders, including Moira, sat in a semicircle around Zephyra, who knelt at the center. Her luminescence had returned, stronger than before, pulsing in a rhythm that matched Elian's heartbeat. "Why have you brought the outsider back?" Elder Moira demanded, rising from her seat. Vidia stepped forward confidently. "Because what's happening cannot be ignored." She gestured to Elian. "Show them." Elian removed the light covering from his arms, revealing the intricate patterns that now covered much of his body. At his will, they brightened until his skin rivaled the luminescence of the Lumina. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "Impossible," one elder whispered. Zephyra stood and moved to Elian's side. Not impossible. Evolution. Growth. The very essence of what our people have always valued. Another elder, older than Moira, studied Elian closely. The Grove has never chosen an outsider before. This transformation should not be possible without generations of adaptation. Perhaps that indicates the urgency of the connection, Lysandra suggested, stepping from the shadows where she had been waiting. Our world is changing. The crystal formations grow slower each cycle. Perhaps we need new energy, new perspectives. Elian felt Zephyra's fingers intertwine with his, their combined luminescence creating patterns that danced around them. There is something else, Elian said, finding his voice. My research shows signs of crystal degradation in the outer forest. I believe my world scientist could help understand and reverse it, if we work together. The oldest elder approached them, her ancient eyes reflecting wisdom accumulated over countless cycles. She placed one hand on Zephyra's shoulder and one on Elian's. She said, I have watched over the grove for 7 generations. Never has it spoken so clearly through transformation. This bond between different worlds may be precisely what Vidia needs to survive. Over the following weeks, a new understanding developed between Elian and the Lumina. He established communication with Earth, carefully negotiating terms that would protect Viridia's ecosystem while allowing limited scientific exchange. As for Elian and Zephyra, their bond deepened beyond physical transformation. In the sacred pools where they first met, they completed a Lumina joining ceremony, their energies permanently intertwined. 2 forms, 1 energy, Zephyra whispered as they stood beneath the crystal tree at the grove's center, their bodies illuminating the space around them. Elian smiled, feeling the connection that flowed not just between them, but through the entire living planet. Different origins, he responded, completing the traditional phrase, same universe. The transformation continued, not just for Elian, but for both worlds as they discovered what was possible when different forms of life found harmony in their differences rather than separation.